Are you looking to join Cycling Men of Leisure at one of our events this summer?
You know I am.
Well, then where are we going?
Here's what we're doing. We're going to start our ride season off at the very end of May, going through the first week of June at the Big Bragg. We're going across Georgia yet again. Always a good time. Then in July, we are hooking up in Indiana to do Rain. That is a one-day ride across Indiana, 165 miles. Should be a good time. And then we are going to go to the Bourbon Country Burn in September down in Kentucky. We're going to do some riding, and we're going to get to tour some great distilleries and do some tasting. So it's going to be a great time.
I'm really looking forward to all three. Now, I know that normally 160 plus miles does not sound leisurely, but it's one that's been on our bucket list, and we're going to knock it off this year. So if you're looking to join us, you can find us on our social media pages or go to bragg.org, bourbonCountryBurn.com, and rainride.org. So look for those, and we'd look forward to joining you.
Well, it's time for Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure, the podcast for cyclists who understand that riding is not just about getting to the destination, but the experience along the way. Now, here are the original Cycling Men of Leisure, Adam and Michael.
Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. I am Adam, and again, I am joined with my good friend, Mr. Michael Sharp.
Hey, Adam, how we doing?
You know, I am good. I'm back in the land of Michigan after our wonderful adventure. How was your flight home?
Uneventful, which is the way we like it.
It landed where it was supposed to?
It did indeed. It was a little late, but, we got there. We're happy about that. No problems. How about yours?
I was delayed as well. You actually texted me and said you were delayed, and I was about an hour delayed. They took me down to the end of D, and had like 3 flights leaving from like a 10-foot spot. It was kind of crazy. People just kept pushing forward. I'm like, is there like a plank that people are jumping off of back? There's nowhere to go down there. So,
at least they didn't make you fly out of the outpost T.
Yes,
all the way there on the end.
What are we talking about? We're talking about our adventure across Georgia. We had a phenomenal time.
Yes, we did.
We were lucky. We were able to complete
lucky.
no mechanicals, flats.
No
didn't get injured.
No medicals. It was a good thing.
All the hotels, all of your hard work with the rental cars. This is the first time I'm going to mention Armando in the show. Armando was huge to us and took you into South Carolina for a rental car. So
hard to find a rental car on a Saturday in Hartswell, Georgia. But he was nice enough to detour, go up north, drop me off. So it all worked. And we had a couple of very successful team events as well.
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit about that. And just to give everybody kind of expectations, I think we're turning this into a two-parter.
Yeah.
Yep.
We definitely, after looking at all of the adventures across the great state of Georgia, we've able to interview some people. We'll put those interviews in there. We've got some good stuff for you. We're pretty excited. So, tell you what.
Excuse me while I pour some Cycling Men of Leisure Bragg Kansas City style whiskey there.
Nice. That speakeasy we had, we'll get into a little bit later.
Oh, that was good too. We had it was a good ride. I will tell you, which you already know, but I will tell our listeners and our viewers, Northern Georgia is really the base of the Appalachian Mountains. There was some long climbs and there was some very steep climbs. So that made for a fun and interesting time.
So yesterday, I had to ride the bus home, and I drove my car to work, but I unfortunately had a little bit of a radiator leak, and so it's getting repaired in my van. And so I booked myself a ride home on the bus, and a passenger I used to drive when I was driving. And she said, I didn't realize you still worked for Let's. And I said, yeah, I still do. And she said, uh, what happened? And I said, well, I came back from the airport and unfortunately the fluid under my van, yada, yada, yada. And I said, so I had to book a bus ride home. She said, oh, where were you? I said, I was in Georgia riding my bicycle. She said, well, it's flat, right? And all I could think about was, well, maybe 75 is flat, but where you and I were was definitely not flat. So,
not flat, but we'll talk about that. It was a good ride, and we've got a lot of interesting stories. We did do a better job this time. Let me give you kudos. You produced a reel for us every day to kind of keep people who are following us on our Facebook page or on the internet, keep them kind of informed of what we were doing. And we also did manage to get a few clips. We've always had trouble in the past, like getting clips because we get carried away. We do have a few clips, and we're going to share those throughout these next 2 episodes.
We can definitely do that. So let's start with some of the basics. We had a team of 43. We were the third 3 years in a row. We had the largest team.
There we go.
We did have a little bit of a rivalry, and so we'll get into that, which was all good and fun.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that.
I mean, 43-10. I don't know if it's much of a rivalry, but anyway. We do love you, Savannah, so we'll just keep going with that. But no, all good and fun. But the thing I think we should do first, since we mentioned that we had a team of 43, why don't we pay homage to our team? We'll go first name only here. I think we should mention our team members and thank them. We had such a wonderful time. I'll go first here. I'm gonna give credit to Peggy, Jean, Lynette, Amy, Sandy, Natalie, Virginia, Carrie, Lisa, and Tamara, which was our ladies team, and Audra. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
And then we have Tommy, William, Armando, Gary, Mark, Joe, Don, and Bill. And I'm going to let you go with the rest.
All right. And we also had David, Scott, Harold, Will, David, different David, Steve, Neil, Tripp, 2 guys named Michael and Adam, Alex, a different Michael, Stephen, Zach, Brian, Paul, David, John, Jeffrey, Doug, another Paul, Larry, and Audra.
And then we had some who did brag light, and then let's get into our honorary member. Gary, he had a wedding to go to, as you teased him. He should have went virtually, but he did send me a photograph. His family, he was a sharp-dressed man and looked sharp with his family, great-looking family. But
every girl's crazy.
About a sharp-dressed man?
That's right.
Okay. YouTube, please don't block us. But we also want to mention a very special young man, honorary team member of ours, Phoenix. Phoenix did not qualify because they did not consider him an adult. I don't think I qualify as an adult either sometimes, but that's okay.
Probably not.
But you and I were able to come together and get this man an honorary team member of ours, which was really interesting because when we told the story to other team members, other teams have done the same thing where they did they honored him and not just Phoenix, but someone who was not an adult. But so I know that we were so appreciative of our team. We had a great time. Many people returned, and luckily for us, we actually had you and I did some advertising through the show, and we got some organic writers and met some new people, and
we did.
Just had a great time.
Fantastic time, fantastic turnout. Thank you, everybody. It was great meeting a lot of new people that we've never met before, first-time riders. And then it was really great to just see some of our friends that we've been riding with for years, not just at the Georgia ride, but at, Michigan and Kentucky and different places. So always a good time.
So before we go into the deep dive of our adventure, I think that we do need to close a loophole. We ended our last show like we always do with a listener spotlight. So could you give us some clues? And I need to organically search for the guesses while you're reading the clues because we had people coming out of the woodworks with guesses.
We had a lot of guesses. So we'll see if any of them are right. But I will give you the hints that I provided on our last episode. This city began in the early 1860s. Its name changed twice before the railroad selected its current name. It was named in honor of a native chief. Historically, it is best known for a disaster that occurred in the vicinity. And here is the final one. Snow helped elevate this town into notoriety.
So I'm not sure the order. I usually take we've been working tirelessly to get these shows together. So I do apologize the order, but I'm going to go with our good friend Steven, who writes us all the time, who said, "Love the show so much, guys. One of these days we'll ride together. Guest for this listener spotlight is Truckee, California. Had a privilege to take the California Zephyr from Emeryville, California to Chicago in 2023. Thanks to the Amtrak conductor for pointing out the park and the monument to the settlers who perished when they failed to negotiate the Donner Pass through Sierra Nevada mountain range before October. The snowstorm along the section for I-80, trucks being stuck for days. Truckee, indeed, is named after the Indian chief who had two English names before being renamed. Keep up the great work." Our monthly supporter, Alex.
I'm sorry. I just had to laugh because you were talking about the Donner Party, and it's like they were unable to navigate it was just the way you said it was just very, very humorous. That's why I was laughing. It's like, well, that wasn't their only problem, let me tell you. But anyway, go ahead.
They had other problems.
No, they had a lot of other problems.
Our friend Alex says, "Here's my guess for this episode's listener spotlight. Truckee, California. Truckee was named for the Central Pacific Railroad in the 1860s during the construction of the first transcontinental railroad. Previously names were Gray's Section and Coburn Station. The town name comes from the P-A-I-U-T-E, Pautee chief, whose friendly greetings to early settlers of railroads were Choke, meaning all is right, was mistaken for his name. The Donner Party tragically occurred in 1846 to 47 after a heavy snowstorm trapped 87 pioneers traveling west. 41 died. The survivors resorted to cannibalism. See you guys in a few more days," which we had a wonderful time with him. I do know. Oh, here's another one. Our friend from Ohio who gave us a ride in our first brag and stored our bike boxes. Matt, he says, "Listener spotlight, Truckee, California, Gray Station."
Did everybody guess the same one? Wow. Okay.
I know. And then I do know, I'm trying to find it. I know our friend Jeff definitely mentioned Truckee.
And then I believe Armando put in a guess.
He did. And I think that's in our resident thread with Armando. And it's a different city. So I want to make sure I get to that. So give me just 1 second here.
Everybody's really going on this town in California, aren't they?
Yeah.
Won't they be surprised when I announce it's St. Louis?
Oh, man. Really? I'm just kidding.
So am I.
I don't know. I'm trying to find it here.
And then just to, while you're doing that, I'll fill some time here. We will not have, because it's a two-parter, there will not be a listener spotlight at the end of this one. There will be a listener spotlight at the end of the second part of this episode.
Okay.
As part of the conclusion. So, and right now we just lost like 50% of our listeners. It's like,
oh man, they're not gonna. Listening to the broadcast, just found out that you're doing Padres. I am as well. Great minds think alike. I know he said a different city. Do you have that?
I believe you said someplace in Nevada. I don't know. I didn't look because I didn't look, but Armando did do another guess. Someplace that was not what everybody else guessed. So
yeah.
Anyway,
unfortunately, I can't find it, but I assumed that when 4 people came with Truckee,
dead space kills radio.
I know I can cut it out though. But no, I cannot find it. But I know that he talked about it while riding, and I was thinking to myself, well, buddy, I think the world of you, but 4 people came out.
You.
I'm going to go with Truckee, California, the 5th guess.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean,
I'm
if it
giving
walks,
you a chance
quacks,
to opt
smells,
out and try something else.
No, I'm going to go with Truckee.
Well, apparently I'm making these things way too easy now because Truckee, California is in fact the listener spotlight for this episode.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little bit more about it. It was founded in 1863. The name changed twice, which I believe Alex, mentioned. It was Gray's Station and Coburn Station. And then the railroad, the Central Pacific Railroad, came in and says, we're going to name it Truckee. I believe it's pronounced Truckee. In honor of a native chief. And then the Donner Party. Yeah, right, not too far outside of town. Donner Party in 1846 ran into little problems. They started out on the Oregon Trail, and they had some infighting, and they were trying to take some shortcuts, and they just didn't get along. And then they had an early snow, and things just spiraled downhill from there. And then snow. Actually, this is the Hilltop Lodge was one of the first snow lodges to have lifts, like ski lifts. And it is one of the snowiest, resort areas in America. So there you go. So congratulations to all 4 people. We've never had 4 people get it. I must be slipping, but that's okay. I'm glad people were getting that.
Does Cycling Men of Leisure have an R&D department?
We can certainly have one.
We need to get a better one because we need to make them harder. No, just kidding.
Oh, well, I can. Don't even give me that. There's always been that question. It's like, well, this is too hard or too easy. I don't want to make them too easy, like I've said, but then I don't want to make it so hard that no one can ever guess it. But, I've either been making them easier the last few months, or I'm not thinking they're any easier. I'm thinking people are just starting to figure out kind of how I develop my clues, and are putting more effort into them. So I'm not going to say it's me. I'm going to say they're starting to to get into it more and really do more research.
Beep. This is a show edit. You guys are geniuses. Beep. Thank you very much. No, I'm glad people interact and everything with this show. But all right, let's get into it.
We did have a lot of comments about the listener spotlight this last week on the ride. So thank you all for the very positive comments and the fact that you guys really kind of enjoy that trivia part of our show. So
you are absolutely right.
All right. What do we got now?
Well, if you do not regularly listen to the show, we do know that we have some new listeners who asked us about the show when they were in Georgia and saw the jerseys and the shirts.
Lots of people asking about the show. Yes.
And we know that there's been some new listenership because we saw from when Bragg was going on and over, we obviously have some stats and we could see we had some new listeners. And so we really want to just thank anyone who's new here. You and I went on an adventure across the great state of Georgia. This was our 4th year in a row doing that. And I figured without going, and then we went here, and then we went there, we could just give some highlights of some things that we
let's do the highlights of Bragg 2025.
There were some hills. Thank you. Have a nice day. No, I'm just kidding.
There were some hills. We had a big team. We drank some bourbon.
Anyone who does a bike adventure, there's some logistics that come into play. Somehow, some way, you got to get from the start. You're going to get to the end on the bicycle traditionally, and then you got to get back home. And you and I, because it's such a long drive, we usually fly when we go to Georgia. So it's the taking the bike apart, which we've gotten a lot better. And we were definitely apprehensive at first, but it's kind of par for the course for us now. I mean, only twice we've had extra screws on yours.
Hey, I'm up to 5.
5 extra screws?
Ever since I started re-putting my bike together, I keep a little bag of the extra pieces and parts.
Yeah.
And all these years, I've only got 5 little extra pieces. So apparently they weren't important.
Don't worry about that shifting. It's not important. But
I'm kidding. I don't want people to think I'm,
you should tell what you
driving a bike
actually
with
do.
no brakes or something.
Tell the story what you really do with the notification you get. On behalf of Adam
and Michael,
we both want to say thank you
for your support.
Because we've got these huge bike boxes, our friends at the airport who are responsible for our safety, and let me tell you right now, I appreciate what they do. It is not an easy job, and I really don't mind that they have to go looking through my luggage, as long as they don't rip everything out and then just kind of throw it all back in. Almost every single time, and I haven't checked this time, I'll be honest, you get the little notification because they see these big boxes and they're thinking, oh yeah, they've got something good in there. So they always pop them all open and they're going, oh, it's just a bike and some shoes and bike pieces and parts. But they are required to put in this little tag to say, hey, you know what? Our friendly airport security people did in fact open your luggage and rummage through it as a safety precaution. So I get these. So what I've started doing, and you saw it on the inside of lid of my box, I have started taping all of those little placards that you get when you do that. And I'm going to wallpaper the entire inside of my box from all of these. We have inspected your luggage for safety concerns. So I'm working on it.
Well, I have an announcement. I have built my bicycle. I have taken it out of the box. And yes, sir, I did have a new notification that they were in my box. So
I'm thinking we need to start doing something like maybe next time I'll put like some candy in there or something and say, Thank you very much for inspecting my box. I appreciate what you do. I know it's not an easy job. I understand this does look like something that, I'd be stashing drugs or some other illegal paraphernalia in. Here is some candy to make your day a little better. Thank you very much.
They're going to, you know what they're going to do? They're going to radio up. They're going to say, hold on, I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. Give me 1 second here.
Yep.
This is what's going to happen.
Could you please pull Mr. Sharp aside? This guy thinks he's a wise guy. We're going to give him a really close inspection. I would make sure that he's not trying to get through with anything funny.
I love it.
Sounds like he's being a suck up and definitely trying to get something through. But maybe, like a little bag of, some nice chocolates or something. Maybe a little bottle of Woodford, stick it in there and just say, thank you for your service.
I know.
Yeah, you're probably right. They'd probably hunt me down and say, okay, this guy is trying to, that's some kind of diversionary tactic. And we're going to definitely inspect all of his stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Give us your credit card and stop trying to be funny.
But, I could tell when I got to Detroit, remember how you and I outside the airport really clamped my bike down and we really tightened down the straps?
Yep.
They were all loose. And so I was like, oh boy. And so that's why I already built the bike. I was nervous. And so I unclipped the case and got all the webbing off and everything was fine. I mean, bike was fine. Luckily, you and I always put the pool noodles around the frame and everything, but they just did not tighten it back up. And so, yeah. Well, we'll start in a little bit of a chronological order. So you and I both landed within minutes of each other. I had something to do for work. You had something to do real quick. We jumped in the Sky Club. Trip started off successfully. Flights made it on time. It was very humorous. Almost felt like we were going crazy. They announced that our baggage was going to come on one terminal, our one carousel, and they were spread out from. It's like, hey, how can we mess with these guys? They were like, everything was everywhere, but
2 bags down here, 2 bags all the way at the other end, and yeah.
So then we gathered the bikes and all the bags, and we divided and conquered. You took the train for the car. Instead of us taking everything on the train, you went and got the car, picked us up, everything fit.
So Michael walked over, got the car, brought it back over while Adam was sitting out front, just relaxing. Huh? Okay. That sums it up.
Well, I did have my laptop out, and I was signing something for my boss that I forgot. So, yes, you did do that, and then you got some really cool magnets. And so I'll let you talk about those.
Yes. Well, every day I'm getting these things. Hey, you can get this special from any one of these places that sell personalized tchotchkes to brand your business, and they had car signs. And I was like, you know what? We don't have any cycling men of leisure car signs. But every time we go on one of these, week-long rides or multi-day rides, a lot of times we rent a car in the middle or at the beginning or whatever. I was like, for that price, I should just get some. So I ordered 2 of them, and they came in. They look really sharp. They got kind of maroon around the border, and then they have our logo, Cycling Men of Leisure, and then it has, Cycling Men of Leisure, Road Adventure Cycling Men of Leisure podcast. And so I got a couple of those. So took them out and we slapped them on the side. So we were advertising as we drove across from Atlanta up to Rome. So they look pretty sharp.
Got a lot of mileage out of them.
Somebody driving by on the interstate and they go, I'm really bored. Maybe, let's just listen to that podcast.
And coming out of Atlanta, we had a little bit of traffic, which is par for the course. But
always have traffic.
So we got some mileage out of that, and we headed on down the road, and we were on our way to Rome. All roads lead to Rome, right?
Well, the one we were on did, at least. Thank
God. So I mean, from that point, logistics was worked out great. We got to our hotel. We built the bicycles. Took them outside with some tools. Did some fine tuning. Making sure everything went together. You did have those 5 extra pieces. I just still don't know where they went, but
Nothing
But you know what? We were worried about your head unit, and it never
went on better than it. My pedals and the head unit. I always have trouble with those two things. They went on flawlessly, especially the head unit, because if you don't do it right, my head unit's designed that if you don't do it right, there's like 5-6 pieces in there that all fit kind of in a circular area. And there's like this O-ring type thing around it. And if you get it in too loose, all of those 5 or 6 pieces just fall out and then it's a mess. Put it right in there, tighten it right up. No problems at all. So, another half a dozen times, I might get this down to like flawless.
The next day was officially the first day of Bragg.
Which was kind of weird because generally we don't get to the end town or the beginning town. We take the bus and generally it's like mid-afternoon, late afternoon. We were there all day. I had to get the car back. So we found out where Padres was going to be. And I dumped off all of you and all of the stuff in the parking lot. And then fortunately the car rental place was just like a mile down the road. So I dropped off the car, hiked it back, didn't take very long. And we had our swag bags that we had talked about on the show. We created swag bags for the team, which had, shirts, which had their jersey, shirt. We did a customized t-shirt for the ride, some other decals, things like that. And then also some reminder stuff about our events. And then it came in like a string bag that was, had the logo for the ride and our logo on it. And when I came back to the parking lot, you had everything set out there on the boxes ready to go. And we were able to put together those 43 swag bags right there in the parking lot. And thanks to your organizational skills, we were able to do that pretty efficiently.
Well, you being the history guy of the show, you know that Henry Ford was the assembly line guy. So
Yes.
Being from Michigan, I had to represent. I put the assembly line together, but I waited. I'm a smart guy. I waited for some more help. I needed some
I noticed
resources.
that none of them were actually like started or anything. And if we were talking about assembly lines, I should have been calling my union rep, but I'll let it go.
The Cycling Men of Leisure Union of two. So, but we put those together, and then we went to a restaurant called Harvest Moon. And the reason why that's important is I kept looking for Neil Young, but he wasn't there. So
No, but let me tell you, they had a lot of local beers. We sat in the bar and tried some of their local brews. They had some good music playing. So we just spent a couple of hours just kind of hanging out there, relaxing and kicking back because, like I said, this was new to us. We don't normally have that kind of time.
Yeah.
We were waiting for the buses to show up because we had the swag bags. We just had to wait till everybody started showing up so that we could start passing them out. But it worked out really well because we got over there in enough time to
distribute
get all of our bags sitting there ready to go. So when everybody started coming off the bus and stuff, we were right there next to registration and people would see us and come over and we were able to efficiently get our team their gear and introduce ourselves to the folks that we didn't know. So it was a really nice setup. It was beautiful because we didn't plan it. It just kind of happened that way. So
Yeah, it was. We saw the tour buses, so we better go over there, and then everyone was in line for the Bragg trailer to get the registration and their T-shirt and all the license plate and all the good stuff, and we were there, so it just worked out. And then, of course, that evening, as usual, which is one of the fun things about these events, we went out to dinner with our friends and big groups and good stories and how you've been and everything else, and then
we went back to Harvest Moon that evening with there's probably 15 of us upstairs sitting on the upper deck area. Oh my God. I love the food in the South. All three of us, Armando, you and me, got these big old plates of shrimp and grits. That was incredible. The grits
But-
were awesome. The shrimp was good. It's just like, this is nice. And that's something I really can't get around here.
But was the shrimp to grit ratio the correct? That was one of the comments that we heard throughout the week, that you have to watch your shrimp to grit ratio. And I was like, Michael, have you ever said that in your life ever? So
I didn't know there was such a thing, but apparently there is a shrimp to grits ratio. We were never able to really find out what that was.
nope.
There was a lot of talk about it, but there was never really an answer to it. So maybe it's one of those things that there's not really an answer to.
And that night, our camp, the Padres, the area was decently away from not any fault of theirs by any chance, but decently away from everything else. And then we kind of got all our gear ready to start our trip across the great state of Georgia.
Yes.
And you're right. I mean, with the bus, normally we're trying to get our stuff in the belly of those tour buses, and we fly all day long to go to the east side, and then build our bikes over on the east side. And so, yeah, it was definitely different to have the additional time. As a matter of fact, I kind of didn't know what to do. I was like, well, we have,
yeah. It's like, what do we do? It was
Exactly.
very relaxing, though. It was kind of nice. We were just like sitting there. It's like, yeah, we got all this time.
Yeah.
Everything's ready to go. We had our swag bags. We're just waiting for people to show up. And it was a nice, relaxing thing. We weren't on a bus going, okay, now we got to. So it worked out really, really well. And, I got to say, we'll talk about Padres a little later.
Yeah.
That was a unique experience that we hadn't done. We did a lot of things first time on this ride that we hadn't done before. Experienced nature and did the full service, cycle in type concept. And so, but we got some snippets from those things that we'll talk about in a little bit.
I have some highlights from our first day of riding here. We rolled out of Rome, and we made it to our first rest stop, which is all Bragg rest stops. I mean, the SAG stops are just amazing. More snacks, and normally peanut butter and jelly or pimento cheese. But this first stop had a museum, and there was a dedication to a former first lady, which was pretty cool. Some of the other highlights I have here is we stopped at a brewery at a covered bridge called
Cool. Museum
Harley
City.
Creek Covered Bridge.
Yeah.
And we were able to have honeysuckle blonde beer from Cartersville Brewery. So
Wasn't it museum something?
yeah, museum. Yeah.
Museum City beer or something?
Yep.
I don't know. But it was really interesting. The old wooden covered bridge, like you'd expect to see in, Madison County, Iowa or something like that. Very cool. And there's this brewery next to it, and they were just giving out free beer at, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, 10:30. But it was good. It was interesting.
It's not true. Hey, it was actually afternoon. It was afternoon. Not true. Not true at all. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, it was afternoon somewhere.
Exactly.
But,
We had our normal Italian ice. I have
we
that.
didn't. No, we didn't. That first day, our Italian ice lady was not there.
That's right.
So we had the what do they call them? Snow cones. I
Snow
guess.
cones.
Yeah, it wasn't the regular Italian ice.
Or shaved ice or whatever. I forget.
Whatever they call it. But
I don't know what they call it. Yeah.
that's always a highlight. The last rest stop of the day has like the Italian ice. And we always get one, and that's kind of a tradition. So
Moon Shadow Concession.
that's right. They weren't there until
Day
Monday.
2. She had a flat tire.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. And in my notes, I have that we went to the Mellow Mushroom. And as usual, like we always do on these trips, we invited other cyclists to our table, and we got to sit with Steven. So that was
which
great.
we didn't know, and he was down there by himself, and it's like, oh, come on up and sit with us. So, it's all about community and making friends, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
My notes show that the next day was the team jersey day, and we started our morning off with not only our team picture, which I can go into, but also some fun pictures with our rivalry, which I'll let you go into. So we were able to get 35 of the 43 team members. We, as you mentioned in the swag bags, we put please meet at 6:50 and join us for the team picture. Truth be told, a few people had to go home early and bow out, and so we're hoping them the best health and recovery.
Absolutely.
And then some people had hotels that it wasn't really logistically feasible to come back for just a photograph. We completely understand, but we were able to get 35 of the 43 team members, which was really cool, and that's on our Facebook page if you want to check that out. But we also took some fun pictures with another team rivalry.
Yeah. Our friend Savannah started up a new team this year and thought it would be fun for this year to have a rivalry name to cycling men and women of leisure. So she and her friend created a team named Cycling Women Against Leisure.
Now, who would be against leisure?
Just crazy talk is what I think. But, and to be fair, there was conversation beforehand with us, between us and her. She wanted to make sure that, everything was cool and that there wasn't going to be any, hard feelings or anything like that. And we all worked it out and we all came to the conclusion that, it was cool to do that. So she had a team of 10 or 11 and they were doing their pictures on the other side of the building. And she called us up and said, hey, I'd like to get some pictures of you guys. So as soon as we got done with our team pictures on one side of the building, we went directly through the building to the other side and got some pictures with them. And not just with their team and our, you and I. We did some fun pictures between her and what I think, was it Anne?
Anna, yeah, I think.
Anna. Okay. Who were kind of the two captains of the team. And we did some fun goofing around pictures of like this rivalry thing where we were like, looked like we were fighting. Adam and I were fighting them. And then one where we were all shaking hands and that type of thing. And then what was interesting, I believe it was yesterday, Savannah put together this thing that looked like a newspaper article where it's like, brag team rivalry. And it had a picture of us doing the fighting thing. And then at another page of it showed, the rivalries ended. We're all friends and we're all sitting there shaking hands. So that was really, really cute. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, people were like kind of asking us, there were some people that's like, what's this all about? And things like that. And it's like, no, it's just all in fun. And on the back of their shirt, they, instead of saying how we always say, it's a great day for a bike ride, they put on there something like it's a
great day for the brag rivalry.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with it. So
99.9% of the people who saw that, they laughed and said, oh, you guys are silly. And then that one lady at the last rest stop, you and I were waiting for Moon Shadow Concessions, Italian Ice. And this woman was like, so let me ask you, what is this fight all about?
Like, no, it's not really a fight. We're all friends. And yeah.
Well, all good, Savannah. Great job. I have another note from the team. Besides the photographs, as we headed down the road, I have that we went on the. Now I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Franklin says that the road was called Johnson Mountain or Johnson Mountain Road, but I kind of like Manderloo. I like her description of it, which is the Three Medusa Hill.
Oh, three-headed Medusa.
Three-headed Medusa, yeah.
Yes. That was probably the longest and steepest hill that we climbed all week. And I think it was around 14%, if I am correct.
Yeah, I think it was even more, but yeah.
It was just long and it went up. And then the reason why she kind of called it the three-headed Medusa, because you had a section where you're going up and then you kind of turn and do another section. And then you turned again and did another section. And I would say in the riders that I was around, I would say 98% of them had to walk it. It was painful.
I had to walk.
So, well, ironically, there was a guy in front of me who fell down because he was going so slow that he was trying and he kind of fell to the side, and I was right there. So I was like, oh, I stopped and was lifting up the bike, and his pedal was still, his cleat was still attached, and I helped him get back on his bike, and he was all okay. It was just that he wasn't going fast enough to stay balanced. So at that point, I can't lie, I was kind of happy. It's like, well, I can't just start recycling on this level of grade, so I guess I'll just have to walk a bit. So I was not unhappy to hop off the bike and help him because it gave me a convenient excuse not to get back on the bike for a chunk of that hill. Because even if I'd have wanted to, I couldn't have. But trust me, I was needing a break. So I walked it.
I was riding with our team member, Gary, and he and I were both talking, like, oh, yeah. And he was telling me a story. He unfortunately got hit by a car, and so luckily he is okay. And all of a sudden I said, I got to stop talking. And he said, yeah, I got to stop talking. And so we both stopped talking. We both were riding, and he kind of said, are you ready? And I said, I'm ready. I wasn't ready. I was not ready. So I think I tried about, I don't want to lie, I'm not going to say halfway up, probably a third of the way up. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm not gonna make it.
It was just burning your legs. Yeah. I was about almost halfway up when the gentleman fell, and my legs were just screaming at me, and I was almost to the point where I was going so slow that I could have easily fallen over. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
In my notes, I also have here that the loud traffic at night, nothing against Padre, that's not their fault, but just where we were camping, that road kept me up a little bit, some people up. There was EMS going back and forth. I don't think it kept you up.
Didn't even hear it.
Well, yeah, you can sleep through a rapture.
Yeah. And pretty much there could have been a semi go, 6 inches from my head. I would not have heard it. I was just out, but but then that took us into the town of Cartersville.
Yep.
And then the next day we went from Cartersville to Jasper, if I remember correctly.
We did. And we were, in my notes here, I have that we were introduced from our friend Margaret. We were introduced to Chris, who has a cycle park, and we made a connection with that, and we're going to reach out to him. We'll try to see if we can't get something going for a future show. He was wonderful. And just to give you an idea, this cycle park was, he takes donations and basically.
And he used to work at an old factory there nearby.
Yep.
And they had a lot of things like he recycles a lot of stuff. And they had like some of these big wheel cog things. I don't know what kind of machine it was on. But he had taken those and used them as sides for benches, and had created benches, and everything that he's used is like recycled stuff. And he's got benches out there. He's got a picnic, cover type thing built there. There's a big map of like the trails and the road areas. He even had one of these big electric industrial box things that you'd see like on the side of a building. And when you opened it up, it had like things for cyclists. There was extra tubes in there. There was first aid supplies, all of this stuff. There was bathroom facilities. There was a couple of shower facilities. I mean, this guy, and this is just on his like private land. This guy had went all out to make this cycle park, and some of our friends, that's kind of where they ride out every week and is from that facility. But that's like the coolest facility I had ever seen. And that's where we had one of our rest stops, and it was just really cool. So it'll be interesting if we can get him on the show to talk about, he's done that, and he's done some other things for, getting bikes for underprivileged kids and that type of stuff.
I'm going to just mention one thing about that. He said, "Oh, I would love to be on the podcast," and he told us a story about collecting money for bicycles for underprivileged kids, which we'll hope to touch more on that. And he said, "Well, how do I do the show?" And I said, "Well, we do it on the internet." And he said, "That's going to be a problem. There's no internet around here." And I said, "Well, we could do it by phone." He's like, "Oh, that'll work." So, but a couple of the notes I have from there is we got our first pimento cheese sandwich at the rest stop. You had a very small issue with your derailleur that we were able to fix right on the side of the road.
But it was not the hanger. Which is funny because I actually had a conversation with 3 different people about the derailleur hanger. And one of the guys was like, you know what? It's weird because we've never thought about it. We carry derailleur hangers for our mountain bikes when we go mountain biking, but he goes, I never thought about it for my road bike. So he was actually had gotten derailleur hangers for his road bikes as well. But I had a slight problem where I had to do some repairs on the road because it wasn't shifting right. And I didn't get it quite put back aligned the way it should have been. And
we got you fixed up.
Yeah, we just a matter of taking it off and putting it back on. So everything was good.
When you were making a small adjustment on the side of the road, I pulled off on the right side by this old building.
Used to be like a general store, but it was like this log cabin from like 1890 looking building.
So the reason why is because there was shade there, and I just pulled my bike in front, and I kind of was leaning over my handlebars, as cyclists do, taking a break. And I looked to my right, and there was a very funny sign. And the sign said, "This vehicle is protected by a high-speed wireless device." And there was a picture of a Glock. And I just thought it was so funny. So,
well, it's wireless, and it is high speed. So, it was pretty funny.
I definitely took a photograph of that. But when we got to Jasper, what an accommodating city. They had these beautiful go-karts and golf carts. I apologize. Golf carts, because where we finished was very low down in like the bottoms near the river, or creek or whatever it was. But and the city got really involved, and which is something that we kept seeing a theme of. Each of the cities were really involved and very happy to have us there. But they had golf carts, shuttles to get you up the hill. And so you and I decided that we would head into town, and we saw our friend Sarah at a winery. You and I went to a distillery. Wouldn't you know it? So
we didn't just go to any distillery. We went to the only, I repeat, only legal distillery in Jasper, Georgia.
So here we are. We're in the Shark Top Distillery having an old fashioned. Wouldn't you know that? The men of leisure are here. While it is a small distillery, it is very classy.
It's very, very well done. And this old fashioned that we're drinking, extremely good. I've never had it with the smoked cinnamon before.
I haven't either. The ability to smoke cinnamon, and there's a cinnamon stick in there.
So. Which I don't normally like the sweet stuff, or the cinnamon, the fiery thing, but it's very mellow.
For sure. So, the gentleman here said they are the first legal distillery in Jasper, Georgia. And I found that was very funny that they introduced themselves as legal distillery.
But it's named after a local mountain. That they said a lot of moonshining has occurred in the past, and still maybe occurring today. So you never know.
I think it still is, but he said hypothetically, but I'm sure he meant that it still is.
Who am I to question?
Well, since the barrels are back there and the still only holds 50 gallons.
Yes, they show us a still, and it's sitting in the corner. We got pictures of it. It's a 50-gallon still. And they've got a ton of, they got the big 55-gallon barrels in the back.
Yep.
And I'm like, how many runs do you have to make in a 50-gallon still to fill up a 55-gallon barrel? Because you don't get 50 gallons.
No.
And I mean, to me, it would seem like, I don't know, the math just seems a little weird to me.
We should ask them before we leave how many gallons you get off of a 50-gallon start.
Because they've got brandies, they've got bourbons, they've got whiskey, they've got moonshine, and then they've got flavored moonshine. So I'm like...
And they had gin, but we decided against the gin.
Well, I already cleaned all my bicycle parts, so we're good.
I do need to put some lube on my bicycle before we head out tomorrow. Oh,
I can hook you up.
All right, I got some too. If I can't find it, I'll come to you as a secondary. Right. So, but yes, I figured along the way, we need to get these pieces for our show. We've got a wonderful team today. We had 41 members. Couple gentlemen, one gentleman, one woman had to go home. So, but you know,
we had team photos this morning. I think we got 35 or 37, 35, I think, showed up for the photos. So that's fantastic.
We do know that a few of our friends didn't make the photo, but they're still our friends. So, yes.
And we've been getting a lot of excitement about our activities on Wednesday, our tasting at the distillery, and our dinner. Team dinner that we're having, so that should be fun.
It should be a good time. So, well, I figured we would just get a little snapshot. So that was in Jasper, and we had a good time in Jasper. That was a good night. So,
yes, it was.
Do I have any notes about Jasper? I do not have any notes about Jasper. So. I do have a note that we'll get into. We need to thank some of our team members for some gifts that they brought us. So we'll get into that. And from Jasper, we headed down the road to Dawsonville. I do have the camaraderie during the distillery that we got to meet Jeff. Armando was there and had a nice old-fashioned. He really enjoyed it. So there you go, Connie. There's twice that I've mentioned Armando. You said that he only listens because he hears his name. So now it's twice. So 3 times now. Yeah, I'm just searching my outline here. We next day we pedaled to Dawsonville. And we got to see some friends on the road for the first time. We were concerned because we hadn't seen Natalie and Audra, and we got to see those ladies. I have a note of a very picturesque rest stop, and then and the massive hill afterwards. Okay, so there was this really neat, intimate, like space to have an event, almost like a small wedding or whatever. It was like this waterfall, these people's houses. But what was so teasing about it is as you came into the rest stop, it had these big arrows, and it's okay, now you can come here and get a snack, get something to eat, or get something to drink. But you knew when you came out, there was a really big climb coming out. So it's kind of like really like messing with you a little bit. So, let's see here. I have that night I have in our notes that our friends Juan and Amir came into town, and we went to a restaurant called, of all things, the Blue Bicycle. Pretty fitting to go to a restaurant called the Blue Bicycle on a bicycle trip. And then from there, in my notes, I have our escapades in Dawsonville. So, but you know what I think we should do? I think we should we were able to sit down with Padre Cycle Inn with Jimmy and Dave, and you think we should play that interview?
Yeah, we tried their Cycle Inn out. This is the first time we'd ever really did a full service charter, and I gotta say, it was really cool, and it really spoiled me. But we did get a chance to sit down and talk to them. So why don't we play that clip and listen to what they had to say?
Sounds good. Well, here we are. We are with Padre Cycle Inn, and we've had a wonderful week. Hopefully, Jimmy and Dave, what do you guys think? How do you think it's gone so far?
we're happy with it. It's been a great week. It's always great meeting new people and hanging out with cyclists. Cyclists are just great attitudes that enjoy cycling and enjoy our services, appreciate us. And so we always enjoy being at every event, and this has been a great one with pretty good weather as a whole.
Well, we think you've done a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
Even putting up with our shenanigans last night in the rain with our friend Savannah, who came down, but she's going to be with you at Ragbri, so I'm sure she wanted to come check it out. One of the things that was really neat all week is we've pedaled with our friend Armando, and we'd like to tease him, and you've seen us tease him. But his idea of not having to worry about a spot, I can't express that enough for your company as a spokesman, to be on the road, to listen to him say, you know what, I have all day, I can relax, I know where I'm coming tonight, I don't have to worry about getting
Before, he was always like, I gotta go, because I gotta get the good spot. And all this week, he's like, I'm going to get the good spot because Padres has already got it for me. So you could definitely see like his anxiety level like really go down, and I think he actually enjoyed the ride better. So, I mean, that's just another added benefit to your guys' service is when I get in, I don't have to find a spot inside. I don't have to find a place. I don't have to put up a tent. I just show up, and guess what? My luggage is there. The tent's put up. I mean, you don't make my bed, but that's okay.
I think Armando's smile got bigger and bigger and bigger each day that he came into camp.
I truly think so. And I kept waiting for chocolate on my pillow, but as hot as it was today, there would be no chocolate. It
would just be a nice little smear of chocolate. Might not look so good.
Yeah. But no, it's been a great week. You guys have this thing down pat. I think like I told you guys early in the week, it's like things could be on fire, but you guys didn't show that it was on fire. And I'm sure there's things that happened behind the scenes that were like, oh my gosh. But everything was smooth. All your staff was super professional. And one thing I'll mention, I got a friend of ours gave me a bottle of wine. I didn't have any place to put it. So I just stuck it in one of my bags. It wasn't wrapped. It was just in my small carry-on bag. And I was like, this may or may not get there, and it may just be wine dripping out. You know what? Got there in one piece, and my point to this whole story is I've seen you guys run around here with the luggage, and you're not grabbing it and tossing it like the airport people do. You're picking it up and bringing it over to one pile and stuff like that. So I think that's something that I super appreciate is you're not just like grabbing it and heave-hoing it. So,
and I kept our old team name really proud with Team Sherpa. I brought way too much crap. Microphones.
Good thing they didn't weigh your bags, or you might have had some issue.
We'll leave it at that.
I don't think we needed to weigh them.
Yeah,
you already knew.
They went to 2 urgent cares along the way to get back shots and everything else. So they did get lighter throughout the week. I keep giving stuff away. So. We just want to express our appreciation for staying with you guys. We really enjoyed it. I have to say that having a place to come to every night was definitely peaceful. But one of the perks that you have that even Savannah didn't understand is you get an air mattress as well. And so when she found that out last night, she's like, really? And she was just organically excited. So,
and it's not just an air mattress. It's an air mattress all week. If there's an issue with it, we can replace it. And that's a lot of the concern with bringing your own stuff is you have one air mattress, and if it goes bad, then you're sleeping on the ground.
You're waiting for that next stop.
Got plenty of spares that we'll use.
And your crew is fantastic. I would even go to write on the board. You have a board you write on. I'd go to write, and he goes, I got it. And they would be over there, and so kudos.
The final thing I'll say is for those who haven't tried your service, another really cool thing is just the relationship and the community within the community, because you've got the brag thing going on. But then, I mean, right now we're looking and there's 15, 20 people sitting underneath your tents enjoying some, cool refreshments and snacks and just chalking and that type of thing.
Yep, and a lot of those people didn't even know each other 6 days ago.
Yeah. We were sitting at the final rest stop, and there was
7 of us?
There was 7 of us sitting there, and this one gal walked up and was like, hey, it's the Padres group, and we were all with Padres. And we didn't plan it. We weren't all riding together. It's just so we kind of organically all ended up, so you kind of have that community within a community, which is really kind of cool.
Downtown, like the downtown area sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. We have phones too. Yeah, I'm the one that usually on the show does
We'll see that at the downtown areas when you're down there and all of a sudden people will see other people that they know from camp and they're like, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Really, really great job.
No, great job. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Those guys did a great job, and that whole model that they have. I mean, you could see that they were very uniform, very pattern of practice of what they were doing. They had it down to a science, and even though
fantastic. And I know they are have a few other events that they're going to be at. I know they're going to be at Ragbri,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to be at the Bourbon Country Burn, and I believe they're going to be up at Shoreline. So if you're doing any of those rides and you really want to just relax and enjoy the experience, you might check out their services. I know some of those rides, they still have a couple of spots left. So check it out. I was very, very impressed.
I'm going to mirror everything you said. I'm going to only add one piece. They're also going to be a Dolmac. The only thing I don't know is if they have any more space for Dolmac. I don't want to misspeak. You would definitely have to contact Padre Cycle Inn.com. But yeah, they're going to be both of those. So, in Michigan as well. The next day we were in Dawsonville, and I'm going to do this very strategically. Don't want to mess this up, but you and I, while we were friends, and we normally never compete with each other, when you're on a kart track, you got to compete with each other, right?
It's a racetrack.
Yeah.
It's like Mario Kart, but like real life.
That's right. So I'm gonna play this clip here, and I'm going to be very strategic about it. All right, well, here we are. We're at the AMP kart racing.
Oh, yeah.
We just got off the track, and...
and what?
To find that out, I'm going to bring you back to part 2, as you mentioned earlier in this show. Part 2 of our Bragg 2025 recap. Here's what you can look forward to. You can find out who between the two of us left it all out on the track. You will also get to hear the executive director of Bragg, Mr. Franklin Johnson. We sat down with him earlier this evening. We got his final thoughts. We do have some information such as how many riders. We got an injury report. There's a couple things there. If you're curious, you can find that out. You and I gave our closing thoughts from the airport.
Yes, we did.
And to find all of that out, we're going to ask you to. And you will have another at that time on that episode. Another listener spotlight.
And this is a good one too. So we'll see how many people can get this one.
With that being said, I'll repeat it again. But the last 7 days for us was an excellent day. For a bike ride.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming along with Adam and Michael on Road Adventures with Cycling Men of Leisure. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe to the show on the podcast app of your choice.
Hey, we just wanted to remind you that we've got some really cool products at our jersey and our swag store.
That's right. You can visit cyclingmenofleisure.com. At the top of the page, you'll find our stores page. Click there. There's 2 QR codes. The one on the left has a J on it. That's the store for the jerseys. The one on the right is just a swag store. Has all kinds of different items. Kind of customizable. You can kind of make the swag the way you want it. If the QR codes are giving you an issue, don't worry. Underneath, there's 2 buttons that you can click on. Thank you, and have a great day.